أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونتوب إليه ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Amma ba'd, all praises due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we seek His aid, we ask His forgiveness. We repent to Him and we rely on Him. We seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil of our souls and our deeds, whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guided known to His guide, and he whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not guided known to guide. I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I bear witness that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his final messenger. يقول الله تعالى في كتابه العزيز أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر ذلك خير وأحسن تأويلا. As always, brothers and sisters, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to be here on this blessed day of Jum'ah. We thank Him subhanahu wa ta'ala for once again granting us the opportunity to turn to Him in sincere repentance on this blessed day. We thank Him subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us with this great gift, the great gift of Islam. We thank Him subhanahu wa ta'ala for saving us from the madness of Jahiliyyah. Brothers and sisters in faith, today I wanted us to have a conversation surrounding the importance of having a spiritual home. This is a conversation that we touch on every once in a while. we are reminded about the importance of us belonging somewhere. Today, inshallah, that will be our focus. The need for each and every Muslim to belong somewhere. The verse that I chose to open with today is from Surah 4, which is Surah An-Nisa. The verse is verse 59, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the following reminder. He says, believers, obey Allah and obey the Messenger and those with authority among you. If you dispute over anything, refer to Allah and the Messenger, if you believe in Allah and the last day. That is best and most excellent as a determination. This verse here, brothers and sisters, we often hear this verse when we're discussing the importance of leadership. However, I really want us to look closely at this verse. We need to look closely at this verse because way too many of us believe, or our practice and our approach to our faith is unstructured. Islam is a structured faith. Islam is not an amoral faith where I'm not responsible to anybody. Islam is a faith where there is accountability. There's responsibility. Your responsibility and your accountability, first and foremost, is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Being accountable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means that you do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires you to do, and that you abstain from those things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you that you have to abstain from, and you understand and you believe that on the day of judgment that you will be resurrected and you will stand before your Lord for accounting. That's part of your iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this verse, He says what? In kuntum tu'minuna billahi wal yawm al-akhir. If you believe in Allah and the last day. If you believe in Allah and the last day, you understand that you are accountable to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you are accountable to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are also accountable to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And you being accountable to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam means that you follow his example. And the example of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and we all know that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was the greatest leader that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ever placed on the face of this earth. And the companions understood their responsibility to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam for when he left Mecca and went to Medina. As a matter of fact, before he left Mecca, Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was not going to Medina without assurances. He did not leave Mecca without assurances. So those who came from Medina to lobby for him to come to Medina, they gave Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam a bay'ah. They gave him bay'ah. That was his assurance that they were serious and that they would do whatever it is that he called on them to do. So Prophet ﷺ didn't just walk out of Mecca to Medina. That's not how that went down. Furthermore, Islam is serious. Those of us who are familiar with the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, and we know that the Prophet ﷺ additionally took bay'ah from his companions during the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. The assurance that, listen, this, you thought that was serious, this is serious. I need an assurance that you are with me. So the Prophet ﷺ took bay'ah again from those who had already given him bay'ah, those who had already demonstrated their loyalty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and their loyalty to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He again took bay'ah. I'm going to go back to Islam being a faith that is based on structure. Unfortunately, and you've heard me say this numerous times about, those of us who believe that, I'm with the Muslims. I belong to the Ummah. I'm with the Muslims. We fail to recognize and understand that in the Muslim world, there's structure. Even though it may not appear that there's order and structure. When we talk about faith, there's order and structure. You talk about Islam, there's order and structure. Even when, and I don't like using this example. Let me preface my statement by saying this. Saudi Arabia, they have a monarchy. Yes? The next person in line, when he comes and he takes charge, the first thing that everyone does is that they give that king, they give him bay'ah. They walk up, they come to the palace, and they give bay'ah. The business of just practicing Islam as our desires lead us to do, that's what we do. That's something, unfortunately, that we've been afflicted with and we've inherited. This notion that, there's this, there's no structure in this, I can do whatever. Symptoms of this, I don't have a madhab. You may not think that madhab is a big thing. You know, in the Muslim world, there's no such thing as not having a madhab. That doesn't exist. This does not exist. Everybody has a madhab. Doesn't exist. This business of just doing whatever, nobody does that. This business of doing whatever, I'm with the Muslims, that's something, unfortunately, we've been deceived to believe that that's reality. That's not reality. That's delusion. From madhabs to interpersonal relationships, contracts, marriages, divorces, that's structure. When you go to these other countries, their allegiance is to the president or whoever is in charge. He is their imam. He is their imam. Whether you voted for him or not, he's in charge. Your allegiance is to that person there tells you to go right or to go left. That's part of your faith. That's part of your deen. That's deen. As we must understand it. The axis of some of the structure that we find in our spaces, unfortunately, a big part of it is due to leadership. For if leadership is not emphasizing certain things, then you're going to have chaos and confusion. If there's no structure in how I make salah, which there's structure in how you pray, there are rules that govern your prayer. And if you are not aware of these rules that govern your prayer, then you are prone to make mistakes. And when you make those mistakes affect the quality of your prayer, or worst case scenario, that will impact whether or not your salah is accepted or not. It's not structure. You often hear me talk about, the marriages, the McDonald's marriages, and the corn marriages, and that's real. The reason why these things continue to occur is because there is no structure. I don't mean there's no structure in Islam. I'm talking about amongst us. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in verse 143, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا. Surah 2, verse 143, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, thus we have made you a centered nation, ummatan wasata. What does that mean? That means that Ummat Muhammad, the nation of Muhammad, is supposed to be balanced. Supposed to be balanced. Your Quran is balanced. For if you follow the Quran, Ummat Muhammad will be balanced. And when you do not follow the Quran, Ummat Muhammad is imbalanced. A lot of that you see. You don't have to look far. You see that all around you. Allah tells us that He made Ummat Muhammad balanced. Why? لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ, so that you may be witnesses to humanity. We're supposed to be the example. We're supposed to be the example of structure, organization, balance, not dysfunction. Not all this other stuff that we witness on a regular. That's a communal responsibility. لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا. And the messenger will bear witness as to whether or not you comply. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the message. He did his job. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He did his job. And if what we are doing does not measure up to what Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came to us with, then we fail. It's as simple as that. For us, brothers and sisters, in this part of the world, in our reality here, government is not responsible for your faith. That's your business. That's your personal business. Government has nothing to do with that. Government's not going to regulate that. Government's not going to pay for that. That's your responsibility. Government's not going to tell you you can't worship a cat walking down the street if that's what you choose to do. If you choose to do that, you're entitled to do that according to the law. That is your right. According to the Constitution, that is your constitutional right. If you choose to do that, and you can set up whatever, however you want to set it up, that's your constitutional right. Your Islamic responsibility is to ensure that you are practicing your faith with dignity. That's your responsibility. That's your responsibility. We cannot practice our Islam with dignity when, one, nobody knows who's in charge, there's no responsibility, and no accountability. So when it comes to responsibility, you see it all around you. Everybody has something to say. Everybody wants their voice to be heard, but nobody wants to be responsible. Everybody's speaking on behalf of the Muslims. Everybody's speaking on behalf of Islam, but nobody wants to be responsible. The same way nobody wants to be responsible, way too many of us don't want to be accountable. See, because when you're not accountable, you can do whatever you want. I can go wherever I want, here, there, everywhere. I don't truly belong anywhere. No one, if I mess up, nobody can call me to the carpet. Fulan, come here, Fulan. You did A, B, C, and D. You can't do that. The reason why we continue to have the chaos that we often see Fulan and Fulana come to the masjid, they fighting. Imam, we need help. What's the problem? Well, the brother's not treating me right, or the sister ain't right. Okay. Where'd you get married? Oh, well, you know, there should never be, oh, well, you know. Okay, so do you have some type of document that says that the two of you, no. Yeah, my brother Fulan, my cousin, you know, we were at ShopRite in aisle 10 and, you know, we got married. What was the dowry? Well, you know, I taught her the Fatiha. Okay. And somebody's supposed to respect that. Now, I mean, it may sound funny, it may sound comical, it's real, but I really want you to reflect on that example because that is our presentation. That's our presentation. So now I want you to consider your family, that are aware of how you got together with brother Fulan or sister Fulana, and you call that a marriage. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. How is that an example? And then we argue. Well, the sunnah is not chaos and confusion, brother. There's order, there's structure. But we fight against that because we don't want anyone telling us what to do. We don't want to be accountable to anyone. Don't count on me. Don't call me because I will not be there. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam took bay'ah exactly for that reason. When I call on you, I need you to be there. Fulan, I need you here 5 o'clock. So all the, well, I don't know, maybe I'll make it, you have to be accountable. And when you mess up, somebody has to tell you no. Someone has to be able to tell you, you can't do that. Someone has to be able to tell you, stop. Someone has to be able to tell you, you're wrong. And if you are struggling in here with these issues, you need to deal with that. Because our communities are not going to grow and thrive with what we have going on now. We don't need more spaces. We don't need, every time you turn around, there's a new space, a new masjid. And then, okay, what has that done for us? We're in a city where we have a ton of Muslims. You have tons of spaces. You got so many options, you can't even remember the names of the spaces that we have. What has that done for the quality of Islam in our city? You ask yourself that question. You look at the health of our families, our marriages. How long do our marriages last? You see, that's attached to community. And community is attached to the space that you belong to. You can't have community and everybody's everywhere. There's no common goal, there's nothing. Oh yes, but we all pray together. But your hearts are divided. You hate each other. But we all pray together. We got all kinds of stuff going on inside of us. But we all pray together. We share the same space. What are you investing in the space that you're praying? Are you helping to maintain the space? Because I'm going to tell you, in the real world, when numbers dwindle, congregations shrink, doors close. That's real. When you look at the Archdiocese, there's a church right up the street. Right up the street. Catholic church right up the street. I believe it's at 49th and Lancaster. Between 49th and 50th. Numbers dwindled. Congregation shrunk. Doors closed. Now the property's for sale. We're not exempt from that. The difference between us and this visible structure. Fulan answers to Fulan answers to Fulan. And I'm not saying there's no structure in Islam and Muslim certain spaces. I gave you the example of the Muslim world, where this structure, Fulan answers to the Imam. If you do something, you get in trouble. You do something in our spaces spiritually, you commit a transgression, whatever. I might make tawbah. But then there's damage. You may think that it's okay, I can go around, I'm with the Muslims. you need to consider the casualties that you're leaving in your path. The souls that have been damaged. The young people that don't want to have anything to do with Islam. The sisters who came out of their guards and left Islam. The brothers that decided, well, this is crazy, I'm not doing that. These are consequences. And the consequences are real. The consequences are real. I see a lot of you that have been coming to this masjid for a long time. I see you every Friday. Literally, every Jummah, I see you. My question to you, where do you belong? See, the loose relationships that we have with our spaces of worship, that doesn't work. Because when our community is in need, the imams don't have your number. Brother Fulan, listen, we need A, B, C, and D. So if you belong somewhere, the person in charge or the people in charge should be able to reach you, and they should be able to count on you when things are needed. And when you're messing up, you don't go hide out in your little corner somewhere. You don't disappear from the community because you done messed up. And nobody knows you're messed up because you can do that. That's been facilitated for you, where nobody can say, Akhi, you can't do that. Ukhti, you cannot do that. But we go from door to door to door to door. An abuser can go from here to there to there. And because there's no accountability, nobody knows nothing. These loose relationships, which we're comfortable with, by the way, because Shaitan feeds that in you. You ain't got to listen to that. So you'll hear a reminder about your duty to find a home, a spiritual home. And that may not rest well with you, so let me get a second and a third opinion. I'm going to share this with you. This is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam speaking. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنه. This is Abdullah ibn Umar رضي الله عنهما عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال, Abdullah ibn Umar says that Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم said, على المرء المسلم السمع والطاعة. That each and every Muslim is obligated to hear and obey. فيما أحب وأكره. Subhanallah. You are obligated to hear and obey for those things that are agreeable to you and those things that are not as well. And the only time you can decide, I'm not doing that, is when someone calls on you to do something that goes against your faith. Someone calls on you to do something haram. And as long as you're not being called to do something haram, then guess what? Your obligation is to hear and obey. Abdullah ibn Umar, again, another hadith. And this, the first hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. He says, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول. I heard the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم say, من خلع يدا من طاعة لقي الله يوم القيامة ولا حجة له. Whoever withdraws their support from a jama'ah without cause, that they will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defenseless. In essence, you cannot say anything to justify why you were not part of the group. Unless there was something that was going on that was legitimate. I don't agree with that. See, because then we're talking about personalities, you're talking about your nafs and all that other stuff, which we are obligated to keep in check anyway. I know for a lot of us brothers and sisters, it's a difficult conversation. It's difficult. And I can imagine, we have these internal struggles that we have with ourselves all the time. That's natural and normal. But I'm going to refer you back to Surah An-Nisa, the verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u rasula wa ulul amri minkum. And he ended the verse with, In kuntum tu'minuna billahi wal yawmil akhir. So if you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the last day and you're standing before him, you have to get in line. You have to get in line. It's not an option. It's not an option. A lot of times we struggle with, our kids and young people and where they at and why aren't they in the masjid, and maybe it's because they've been watching us. You think maybe that may be a cause. Think about it. Young people know where it is structured. They have structure all throughout their lives. Now I come to the masjid's Wild Wild West. No, that's not Islam. That's not Islam. The masjid is where anything goes. No, that's not Islam. There's no community. That's not Islam. Islam is, what does the word ummah mean? What does jama'ah mean? Yadullahi ma'a jama'ah. Allah is with the group. Not me by myself doing whatever. I'm not following myself. When it comes to your spirituality, and this is the biggest point, your deen. Who are you following? Who's guiding you? And if you say the Quran and the Sunnah, what does that mean? For unless you are a mujtahid, an expert in all of these disciplines that entitle you to do what you feel is right based on your analysis. Unless you're in that, you fall into that category, you have to follow somebody. You got to. I go to the Quran, I'm reading these verses, I come to my own conclusion. Okay. I go to Bukhari and Muslim and, Abu Dawood, Tirmidhi, Musnad Imam Ahmad, and Nisa'i. I go to all these collections that we have decorating our homes. And I come to my own conclusions. Okay. And we believe that we're going to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with that. Okay. You can do that. You can do that. But I tell you this, doing that is a gamble. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you, has blessed all of us with everything that we need. In order for us to benefit from it, we got to get out of our own ways. Get out of your way. Whatever that struggle is within you, You know, if you don't like if you're in the space, you don't like the imam, find somebody that you are agreeable with. Do that. That's for the benefit of your soul. Stop this struggle. I like the brothers, but I'm not feeling the imam. Then you need to go somewhere else where you're feeling the imam. Because somebody has to be able to tell you, Fulan, you can't do that. Fulana, that was wrong. Somebody has to be able to tell you that and be able to guide you. Somebody has to be able to do that. And if your affiliation is loose, you need to address that. You need to address that. And by addressing that, I mean you need to go wherever you feel comfortable. You need to go to whatever the structure in that space is. Assalamu alaikum. I want to make this my home. I want this to be official. I'm here. What do you need? How can I help? What can I do? Let me bring my family. This is my wife. These are my children. This is my marriage certificate. If I'm not married, if I'm divorced, this is my divorce decree. If I have a civil marriage, this is my marriage license. If you have a civil marriage, you still have to have the shari. I don't want anybody to misunderstand that. We have to practice our faith on that level because Islam is serious like that. It's serious like that. Our families, children watching, you know, one day we're married, next day we're divorced, you know, married again within 2 days. I mean, that's not who's doing, what is this? We can't do that. I can't have a sit down with a sister 2 days later we're married. I mean, you don't even know this person. Then you're wondering why, you know, a week later I can't stand this, you know, the sister's wrong. Well, you're wrong. You shouldn't be in this situation. Who's counseling you? Who's performing these marriages? Who documented this? Where's the paper? And you got a divorce. You know, sister, you're divorced and I'm walking out the door. No responsibility. Well, you know, I did what I was supposed to do. I gave her talaq. If you have paper coming in, you got to have paper going out. You got paper going in, you get paper going out. You have witnesses going in, you have witnesses exiting. We have this misunderstanding about our faith and how things are supposed to be. We have to do better. We have to do better. We have to do better. We can't continue this. Because as I said, generation after generation after generation are watching this nonsense. We can't live this level of dysfunction and claim to be holy. You can't live that level of dysfunction and claim holiness. They don't go together. No. You cannot stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with dysfunction like this. You can't stand before your Lord arguing some nonsense. Arguing, well, I divorced my husband. That's not how it goes. Sister can't walk up to her husband, yeah, brother, you're divorced. I'm out. I'm packing my bags. Salaam alaikum. You know how many times it happens? Yeah, Imam, yeah. Brother Fulan, we were married, yeah, and I had to divorce him. Okay, who officiated this khula here? Yeah, well, I divorced him. I'm sorry, what? What do you mean you divorced him? You divorced him how? I told him I'm leaving. I'm divorcing you. That's not a khula'. And we're all over the place. But can't nobody tell us nothing. Can't nobody tell us nothing. We have a responsibility, brothers and sisters. Now, our responsibility is to uphold Islam. Represent Islam as Islam is supposed to be represented. A couple of weeks ago, I told you about the norm. And I'm telling you, wallahi, everybody has something to say about Islam. Everybody's speaking about Islam. So the norm is all of these muharramat, all of these sins that are being committed publicly by Muslims and endorsed as being normal Islam. So when a person engages with a Muslim that guards those lines, I don't drink, I don't do this, I don't do that. Okay, I ain't never heard that before. I mean, I know all of these Muslims, they all drink. What? I know all these Muslims, they all got girlfriends. They all got boyfriends. That's the norm now. That is a norm. That's not something, I'm not making this stuff up. Wallahi, this is a norm. How is it that every Muslim that a person engages with is steeped in not private sin, public sin? I'm not talking about you falling down, you're behind closed doors. I get that. That's cool. I'm not saying that's cool. I understand that. We all have our weaknesses. We all carry our own individual burdens. But if I'm out there in public, I'm in the middle of a restaurant ordering a $500 bottle of wine. I'm walking around with a red beard and ordering a $500 bottle of wine. I'm trying to understand. I'm sitting at the table with a camera on. Yeah, let me see your wine list. This is happening today. Every day this happens. So who's going to tell this brother or this sister, Akhi, you're wrong, Ukhti, you're wrong, if I don't belong with her? Can't nobody tell me nothing. As a matter of fact, the comeback, we know what the pushback is. The only one that can judge me is Allah. That's the pushback. You've heard it. But when you're part of a community, Assalamu alaikum. Yeah. We're not in your private business, but your public business, you can't do that. Or, Akhi, your wife came to the masjid, you done beat her up, we got a problem. Akhi, you're not coming home at night because your wife says you're in the strip clubs. What I just said to you, that's real. You're a Muslim man. How are you not coming home to your family? I need somebody to explain this to you. You're a Muslim man. How are you not coming home to your family at night? Unless you're working the graveyard shift. You ain't working the graveyard shift. Why are you not home? Well, bro, you can answer that question. Doesn't take a scientist to figure that one out. Who's going to tell that brother after you cannot stay away from home like that? That's not working. You can't do that. That's irresponsible. And we cannot endorse that nonsense. Because I've heard brothers telling me, you know, where does it say in the Sunnah that a man cannot stay out and stay out? Why does he have to come home at night? Come again? What was that? Why does he have to come home? Yet again, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. How are we the example? And this is our presentation. We have a responsibility, brothers and sisters. We have a responsibility. Collectively, we have a responsibility. Individually, we have responsibilities. Only responsibility. Stop fighting with it. Stop making up excuses for why, I can't figure it out, man. Figure it out. Stop this, well, maybe if you're looking for perfection, there is none. If you're looking for the right person to come along, you'll be long dead. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. If you're waiting for the Messiah to come, if you're waiting for Isa alayhi salam to come, well, I will follow him. May not be in your cards, bro. That's real. Your individual responsibility is to be part of the jama'ah. You have to figure that out. Because a weak jama'ah is what we have right now. It's what we have right now. That's what we have right now. Now, you may want to convince yourself otherwise. You're free to do whatever you want to do. You're free to think whatever you want to think. Just remember this. There are consequences. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات من كل ذنب واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبيه الكريم وبعد. Brothers and sisters, in closing, as always, I remind myself first and reminding you to do something that is beneficial for your soul. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَقَدِّمُوا لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. Find something that you can do, inshallah, today, tomorrow, preferably today before tomorrow. This weekend, find something that you can do that will benefit your akhirah. Get in the habit of doing this on a regular basis. Get in the habit of doing this. Make it a habit that you are constantly thinking about your meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what you've put forward. As we plan our lives, we plan what we do. We do that. I gotta be to work on time. I have to do this. You have chores at work. You have duties and responsibilities. You get all that done. Stop neglecting your soul. Stop neglecting your soul. Because all that other stuff that I just mentioned, those are things that you do to get you through life. What matters is what you pay forward to your akhirah. That's what matters. Figure that out. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgives us all on this blessed day of Jum'ah, that He accepts from us all on this blessed day of Jum'ah, that He brings us all closer to Him on this blessed day of Jum'ah. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He helps us with ourselves. That whatever it is that we are struggling with, whatever it is that is standing in our way of being better service to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He help us deal with that. ألا وصلوا على سيد المرسلين وإمام المتقين وقد أمركم الله بذلك في كتاب العزيز فقال جل من قائل إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. ويقول عليه أفضل الصلاة والتسليم: من صلى علي مرة صلى الله عليه بها 10. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وأنعم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله العظيم الجليل يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. وأقم الصلاة فإن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر.